personally salute all frontliners who have worked tirelessly and innovators who have yielded a solution to prevent and treat COVID-19 and other crisis situations, or an initiative which has contributed towards mitigating the impacts of coronavirus and providing relief to communities. I have observed abundant creativity and innovation emerging at the national, institutional, organizational, and individual levels for the past year.
Now is the ideal time for initiatives like this to be explored, not only encourage development of innovation, but to manage future emergencies and crises.
Sejak mencapai kemerdekaan, Malaysia telah mengalami transformasi yang pesat demi kemakmuran dan kesejahteraan rakyat. Sektor kesihatan, antara sektor terpenting negara, sentiasa berhadapan dengan pelbagai isu dan cabaran dalam era globalisasi ini. Fokus Kementerian Kesihatan menjadi lebih luas, terutamanya dalam menyediakan kemudahan kesihatan yang saksama, mudah diperolehi dan berkualiti. Untuk itu, perancangan dan pelaksanaan program kesihatan negara perlulah berasaskan kepada bukti saintifik menerusi hasil-hasil penyelidikan yang berkualiti. Penubuhan Institut Kesihatan Negara atau NIH yang bernaung di bawah Program Penyelidikan dan Sokongan Teknikal Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia adalah bertujuan untuk menjalankan penyelidikan yang mana hasilnya dapat memberi bukti saintifik terhadap pembentukan polisi dan intervensi bidang kesihatan. NIH telah diluluskan di bawah rancangan Malaysia ke-7 dan secara rasmi beroperasi sejak bulan Ogos 2003. Visi NIH adalah untuk menjadi organisasi penyelidikan kesihatan terkemuka ke arah meningkatkan kesihatan dan kesejahteraan negara. Manakala misi NIH adalah menjalankan penyelidikan, latihan dan perundingan berkaitan kesihatan yang berkesan dan berimpak tinggi untuk meningkatkan kualiti hidup. Selain itu, NIH juga bertanggungjawab untuk mentadbir dan menguruskan penyelidikan di negara ini untuk menangani isu-isu kesihatan nasional. Kompleks NIH seluas 40 ekar di Setia Alam Selangor mempunyai ciri-ciri seni bina moden yang melambangkan kerancakan transformasi perkhidmatan kesihatan yang dizahirkan oleh penyelidikan yang berkualiti tinggi. Dilengkapi dengan pelbagai fasiliti serba moden, NIH turut menekankan kepentingan ekosistem alam sekitar yang mampu mewujudkan suasana kondusif untuk penyelidikan. Kompleks NIH menempatkan sebanyak 6 buah institut yang mempunyai pengkhususan dalam bidang penyelidikan masing-masing. Kelancaran operasi setiap institut ini disokong oleh pejabat pengurus dan pejabat pendaftar yang menjadi tunjang utama dalam pengurusan strategik dan pentadbiran NIH. Institut Penyelidikan Perubatan atau IMR merupakan institut penyelidikan biomedical tertua di Malaysia yang diwujudkan sejak tahun 1900 oleh Kerajaan British. Ketika itu, ia dikenali sebagai Institut Pathology di Kuala Lumpur. Hasil penyelidikan IMR telah banyak menyumbang kepada pengetahuan, pemahaman, rawatan dan kawalan beberapa penyakit tropika utama di negara ini dan rantau Asia Tenggara. Kini, fokus IMR juga kepada penyelidikan bioperubatan seiring dengan trend perubahan isu dan beban kesihatan negara serta kemajuan teknologi perubatan. Sejarah Institut Kesihatan Umum IKU bermula di Singapura sebagai Royal Sanitary Institute dan dijenamakan sebagai Royal Society for Promotion of Health RSH yang berperanan melatih inspektor kesihatan dari Tanah Melayu, Singapura dan Borneo. IKU berkembang menjadi pusat penyelidikan epidemiologi dan kesihatan awam yang menyediakan data-data kesihatan penting pembuat dasar dan pihak berkepentingan mengenai prevalen penyakit dan taraf kesihatan rakyat negara ini. Antaranya adalah tinjauan kebangsaan kesihatan dan morbidity at National Health Morbidity Survey yang dijalankan secara berkala. Institut Penyelidikan Klinikal atau ICR berfungsi sebagai cabang penyelidikan klinikal KKM dan mula beroperasi sejak Ogos 2000. Dengan 5 buah pusat kajian yang berperanan menggerakkan kajian-kajian klinikal tersendiri serta mempunyai 36 cawangan di hospital-hospital utama KKM di seluruh negara. ICR memainkan peranan penting dalam menerajui pembangunan dan pengukuhan kapasiti penyelidikan klinikal negara, mewujudkan dan mengekalkan pengkalan data klinikal bagi KKM dan juga mewujudkan kerjasama dengan organisasi penyelidikan tempatan, serantau dan antarabangsa mengenai penyelidikan klinikal. Institut Penyelidikan Sistem Kesihatan atau IHSR ditubuhkan pada November 2002 bagi membantu KKM dalam pelaksanaan penyelidikan terhadap sistem dan pengurusan kesihatan negara yang membantu dalam menyediakan bukti saintifik kepada pengubal dasar dan polisi kesihatan negara mengenai taraf dan kualiti penyampaian perkhidmatan kesihatan kepada rakyat. Institut ini berperanan dalam melaksanakan penyelidikan berimpak tinggi dalam bidang penyampaian perkhidmatan kesihatan negara, melaksanakan penilaian terhadap dasar dan polisi kesihatan dan kebolehcapaian perkhidmatan yang saksama dan berkualiti dalam kalangan semua rakyat negara ini. IHSR telah mendapat pengiktirafan antarabangsa dan telah dilantik sebagai Pusat Kerjasama Serantau WHO untuk peningkatan kualiti dan kesihatan. Institut Pengurusan Kesihatan IHM bermula di bawah Institut Kesihatan Awam yang dikenali sebagai bahagian latihan pengurusan. Penubuhan IHM bermula pada rancangan Malaysia ke-6 yang mana ia bertanggungjawab dalam meningkatkan pembangunan modal insan profesional di KKM untuk menghadapi cabaran dalam penyampaian perkhidmatan kesihatan yang berkualiti. Bidang penyelidikan yang dipelopori oleh IHM ialah aspek kepuasan pelanggan, pengurusan sumber manusia serta pemantauan dan penilaian terhadap kualiti perkhidmatan kesihatan negara. Selain itu, IHM turut berperanan sebagai sebuah institut yang menyediakan latihan berkualiti tinggi kepada kaki tangan KKM. Institut Penyelidikan Tingkah Laku Kesihatan IPTK ditubuhkan pada 2005 adalah bukti bahawa bidang tingkah laku kesihatan adalah penting dalam usaha mencapai sebuah negara maju. IPTK bertanggungjawab dalam melaksanakan penyelidikan inovatif dalam bidang tingkah laku, penilaian intervensi promosi kesihatan, kaedah komunikasi kesihatan yang efektif dan komunikasi risiko. Penyelidikan yang dilaksanakan oleh penyelidik-penyelidik di NIH bukan sahaja telah memperbaiki penyampaian kesihatan kepada rakyat Malaysia, namun telah turut mendapat pengiktirafan di dalam negara dan di peringkat antarabangsa. Way Forward NIH akan terus mengkaji dan meningkatkan kepakaran para penyelidik ke arah menghasilkan kajian-kajian berkualiti dan berimpak tinggi dalam meningkatkan taraf kesihatan dan kehidupan rakyat Malaysia.
gentlemen, our next lined up program is a knowledge sharing session. Please enjoy.
Hi everyone. So I'm Dr. Anwar from Malaysia Genome Vaccine Institute and the National Institute of Biotechnology Malaysia. So now we have a new mandate to work on vaccines, add on to genomic work. So yeah, it's really quite hard to proceed with this mandate, but it's our responsibility. So we not work alone. So we work with other ministries like MOH as well. So and even Ministry of Higher Education. So all the researchers from different agencies. So and even industry. So to carry the new billion. So all right. So for today, I would like to share that build a better future after COVID-19. So during COVID-19, like we can hear really strong resistance by the local community when we start to enforce the testing, isolation for treatment. So during the strict lockdown. So yeah, that is so stressful condition. So for almost like 3 years now, health and care workers all over the world have stood in the bridge between life and death. So they have saved countless lives. Health and care workers do heroic things, but even though they are not a superhero, they're just like the rest of us. Right. So that is why when we face the SARS-CoV-2, so we need to know properties of that virus at the initial stage so that we can set up very good measures to prevent further death cases and increase the infection based on the figures that I showed you now. SARS-CoV-2 is a type of coronavirus, which are spherical envelope viruses with surface projection that give rise to the corona appearance. Coronaviruses contain positive sense RNA, which wrap up in a helical nucleocapsid. So the genome size of SARS-CoV-2 about 30 kilobase. Among the RNA viruses, coronavirus have the largest genome size. So the open reading frames, or normally people just mention ORF for structural protein like spike, envelope, membrane, and nucleocapsid proteins occupy the 1/3 of the genome. So based on that information, people are able to design the proper diagnostic tools. So not only the diagnostic tools, but if you can see like people are doing the COVID-19 vaccines. So based on that information, people can work out at different platforms for the COVID-19 vaccine. So we have live attenuated where they weaken the virus and inactivated, they kill the virus using certain method, for example, the chemical approach, and non-replicating viral vector. So where the viral vector encoding targeted antigen, so they put a gene for certain represent the antigens for that pathogen into this viral vector, so that it will carry and produce the antigen to get the immune response. So like what we have in AstraZeneca. So the next is the RNA vaccines. So where we all now know the Pfizer's or Comirnaty vaccines. So they carry the mRNA where they carry the codes for the specific gene for the spike protein for coronavirus, the SARS-CoV-2. And last but not least, the subunits. So the most common that we always hear in Malaysia is inactivated, non-replicating, and RNA vaccines. So it's quite fortunate to have a lot of information during the pandemic. It's kind of like a platform for biotechnology where people can easily understand the principles for developing this product. So that is the bright side during the pandemic. So people can easily access and disseminate all the information regarding the recombinant technology that can actually help our daily life face the virus or pathogens. So if you can see, here is the timeline. So we can see, like, before this, even the polio, Ebola, so it took ages to produce the vaccines. But can we see how fast the SARS-CoV-2 vaccines being developed? So it's even shorter than the previous. And even one of, for example, the MERS and SARS-CoV-1 still do not have vaccine after the 6 years in 2020. So this report is on the 2020. So you can see how fast that we can do during the pandemic, the last pandemic, when the outbreak started around December 2019. So when we start to have the genome sequencing, so somewhere in January 2020, so people work out with the vaccine candidates and get approval at the end of 2020. So it's a very quick and it's a really worldwide, collaborative work so to produce and to protect people from the pathogen. Why and how it can actually happen? So we can see that is where we need to actually support the SNT, the science and technology, to ensure that we always have the capability to protect our people. So, for example, the genome sequencing, structure and function, purification, cryo-EM, the antibodies, proteomic fields, research facility, in vivo and in vitro. So this kind of thing, including the preclinical and clinical aspect. So if you can see on the right side is the spike protein structure. So in the developed country, they're able to even generate the spike protein structure, which is from that structure. They can actually, because the spike protein is a major envelope protein in SARS-CoV-2 and is composed of S1 and S2 subunit. The S1 subunit is further divided into N-terminal, receptor binding domain. So where the interaction between receptor binding and host receptor ACE2 is responsible for the SARS-CoV-2 infection of host cells. So that is why if we do not have this technology, so we can imagine how can we give a quick response if there is a other outbreak in future. So we have to make sure that our science and technology always follow the current technology available in market. So, for example, the genome sequencing as well, when people start to discover the genome. So when they declare, so they do the metagenome, so they get the genome formations. So when they start to share the information regarding the virus, so for example, in genome sequencing researchers successfully uncovered the viral sequence of SARS-CoV-2 in January 2020, roughly 10 days after the first reported pneumonia cases in Wuhan. So how quick that people can do the sequencing after the case reported. The ability of a fast-track research and clinical trial was a direct result of this worldwide cooperation as well. We can imagine the fast development for this vaccine also contribute by the existing information regarding the coronavirus family. So because we already know that the virus is already like 50 years, so people want to generate the data. So once the outbreak comes, so we have the all the information regarding this family. So that's another thing that contribute to the fast development of the vaccine. So this is a national immunizations. So why I showed you the vaccine immunization schedule because I just want to mention that vaccine have proven to be effective measures to prevent disease and it is safe. How modern society encounter infectious disease threat is by having a vaccine. So most important tools, I would say, against pandemic risk and will be critical to any future response. So it's really helpful, and we need to make sure that we have the capability as well to make sure that we can give a quick response in any outbreak in future. Right. So based on the table that I showed just now, so all vaccines are important. So then my next question is like, how are we going to respond if the outbreak comes and, for example, the country border closed again, and very unfortunate, the outbreak happened in Malaysia only. So yeah, that's the thing that we need to think about the biosecurity. So that is why now, based on our history during pandemic, so Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation mostly have done their study to develop National Vaccine Development Roadmap and VDR. So based on the roadmap, they have already identified the gaps that we have. So for example, before 2021, which is before pandemic, so we definitely only do the importation of vaccines. So all vaccines imported. So during the pandemic now, we have another ability to do the fill and finish. So then we have upgrade our facility, manufacturing facility in Malaysia. So we are now capable of doing the fill and finish, but unfortunately we still not able to do the vaccine manufacturing, the bulk process. So that is what being a risk in the NVDR. So based on the NVDR, the roadmap now suggests a proper pipeline to ensure that we will develop a better for future outbreak. So how we can respond better. So this is the summary of the NVDR, where we need to look at the different aspect or to ensure that we have a complete pipeline to support or give a solution during the outbreak. So we have to look at the drug discovery, preclinical trial, clinical trial, phase 1, 2, and 3, and manufacturing as well. Because when it comes to productions, so definitely we need our local manufacturer to have the capability in producing the vaccines to supply to based on the demand. And the cost definitely higher as well. So you can see, like, especially when it comes to clinical trial and manufacturing. So that is why we need to strategize how to make sure that our nation able to do the vaccine manufacturing, and starting from drug discovery to manufacturing. So we have actually divided the different say expert council consortia at NIDM. So where we need to monitor the drug discovery, preclinical, clinical trial, and the processing part. We're involving the industrial player. So this is the overall timeline to produce the vaccines based on the NVDR, because we are new in this field area, so we need to make sure that it's a proper design. So vaccine discovery will involve different type of platform. So right now we have identified few R&D works already been carried out by local researchers, for example, cholera, tuberculosis, COVID-19, head and neck cancer. So where it's potential to push further to up to the clinical trial and hoping to proceed with the clinical trial followed by manufacturing. So other than that, we also will monitor or propose other vaccine candidate, for example, under our national immunization program. So where it's normally applied uh, by other country when they start to involve in vaccine manufacturing. So for example, Korea, so they target around like 80% from their NIP vaccine to be produced locally. So around 20 vaccines already produced by Korean manufacturer. So we do hope that we can achieve at least 2 candidates from our NIP to be produced locally, so that not only to give a proper economy development, but the most important is the biosecurity when the future outbreak comes in. So we are able to actually give a quick response and to protect our people. So to ensure that all the stages that I showed you up to the manufacturing will work as what we propose in our national vaccine development roadmap. So we need to develop our manufacturing infrastructure as well. So we need to look at what else the manufacturer needs in order to have the ability to become vaccine manufacturer. So an initial partnership with international entities to acquire the existing technology so that we bring the technology to Malaysia, so we can boost the development process even quicker. So initiate collaboration between research center with manufacturer. So having collaboration with manufacturer is very important. So especially those people or at the stage of vaccine discovery. So we need the industrial input. So the whatever being designed in the vaccine discovery stage must comply with the manufacturer line, so that they can pass from vaccine discovery to preclinical, clinical, and accepted by manufacturer. So that is why the collaboration between research center with manufacturer is crucial in this pipeline as well. Initiate research on halal is another alternative that also mentioned in the NVDR. So because we quite good in halal certification, will really recognize Malaysia halal certification. So we should use that niche area to even boost the vaccine manufacturing elements that we can, the selling point that we can use to at least to allow Malaysia to be part in biopharma in vaccine manufacturing. Build sufficient human capital. So to make sure that we have continuous inflow of experts relating to vaccine area, vaccine. Yeah, so we need to make sure that we train our people so that we have a good, sufficient human capital to support the development of ecosystem being highlighted in the FVDR. So this is the CEPI 100 days vaccine. So basically, what CEPI is trying to raise up is CEPI, especially for the world, is to be able to respond to the next disease act with a new vaccine in just 100 days. Possible to design the vaccine candidate within 2 days of the genetic sequence of the new virus being published. So CEPI wanted to do it in 100 days. So perhaps Malaysia can at least follow the aspiration, even though it's quite hard in 100 days. But I really hope that we can do it fast that we can do, and to make sure that the ecosystem matured enough to make sure that we're able to join the CEPI aspiration in future. So in CEPI 100 days, so they have to prepare, transform, and connect. So in the phase of prepare, they strengthen the defense against COVID-19 and reducing the risk of future coronavirus pandemic, develop vaccine for non-threats. So they have a few programs to make sure that the vaccine development program is continuously happen to prepare for another outbreak, and at the stage of produce a library of vaccine and biological interventions, work to compress vaccine development timeline to 100 days. So that's what they are now doing. So to even boost, to make sure that the 100 days happen, there is a global network for lab efficacy and model, and one of the crucial is to support the effort of LMIC, low, mid, and middle income countries to take full ownership of their national health security. So they will give support to make sure that the low and middle income countries will have the ability to produce the vaccines and give protection to their peoples. So that's what part of the safety 100 days vaccines. So I hope with that, whatever plan that already proposed NVDR can happen smoothly, so we can protect our people and give a better response in future outbreak, so that so we can avoid any death cases happen to our people and give a very